guys, this is Deb Joyce Meek from Delight of My Art, and today we are starting a new holiday craft fair series on things that you could bring to a craft fair or give as great gifts for coworkers or teachers or table favors, stocking stuffers, all the holiday fun things. So today we're making mini explosion boxes. I just wanted to start out with showing what we're going to make. We're going to make one of these, and then there's various ways that you can decorate that. You can even use these as birthday favors, would be a fun thing. But if you have not joined my email list yet, please join that. There's a link in the comments here, and you can always shop for any of these products that you see at orderwithdeb.com. So let's go ahead and jump into this. Aren't these so cute? So the lid here fits right on this little box. And when you take the lid off, let me make this bigger. Hang on. When you take the lid off, these are so tiny. Look how tiny they are. Just big enough to fit these little Ferrero Rocher. I don't know how to say it. But you take the lid off and it kind of explodes out. And then you have tiny little pockets that you could put things in. I just kind of decorated it with some DSP, but you could actually slip a tiny little note in there. But they're really nice and small. And so I've got this kind of glue dotted in there so it doesn't go anywhere. And so that's the inside of the penguin one. We've got a deer. It says, "Oh, what fun." And on the inside of this one, we've got Merry Christmas. These are all from the same set. I wanted to keep it consistent here so you could use the same thing. And I'll show you how to make many of these at a time too. And then here we've got our Scotty dog. Isn't he cute? Good morning, everyone. And then this one says woof woof. I just thought that was so cute. So let's go ahead and I'll show you how the measurements go for this. And then you can decorate yours as you want. I really like this glimmer paper. There's red and white glimmer paper in the catalog right now. It's red and white. It's I think you get 4 6x6 sheets of each color, and it's only $5. And I think I've only used like just a little bit of one sheet so far. So this is going to last a long time. For $5, this is a great deal. And it's just adds a little bit of sparkle to the project. This antlers are in the white glimmer. I don't know if that's coming through on the camera, but it looks really good in person. Okay, so let's go ahead and scoot those to the side. Now we'll take our trimmer out. And since this is something that you'd probably be making multiples of, I'm going to show you how to cut your paper so that you get the most for your paper. And the reason why the box is this exact size is because I wanted to get 4 of them out of one sheet of the thick white. So we're going to cut this at 4 1/4 on the long side here, because we're going to make 4 1/4 squares. Because this is 8 1/2, and we can get 2 just by cutting this in half. So 4 1/4 by 4 1/4 is what you want to start with, and you can get 4 of those out of one sheet. So I'm just going to do one, but I just wanted to point that out. That's why I made the measurements this way, because I like to save paper. And if you're doing a craft fair, you want to be conservative with your things so that you can make as many as you can. Okay, so I'll go ahead and score this, and then we'll go ahead and do the lid. So this is the base of the box. You could do this in a color. I just did it in the white because it made it nice and sturdy, made it a little bit different than the lid, but you can choose any color that you want. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and score this. Make sure I've got my measurements right. 1 3/8. That's all the way over here. If you have this Stampin' Up trimmer, that's the new one. It's 2 little marks away from the edge here. So we can go 3/8 over past the 1. Hopefully that's helpful. All right, so we'll go ahead and score that all the way around, 1 3/8. All right. And we'll put that to the side, and we'll do all of our cutting with our snips in just a minute. But now we'll need a lid, and I chose Real Red for all of my lids, and I actually used the same ink color. So I didn't even have to get out more than one ink pad for all three of these designs, which was kind of fun. Nice and easy when you're mass producing, right? 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. So that is right over here. 2 little tiny marks past the 2.5. 2 5/8 by 2 5/8. And we're just going to score this at 1/2 inch all the way around. All right, so we've got that scored 1/2 inch all the way around. And then we're going to cut our DSP. Now, I want you to pick 2 patterns, and if your pattern is one that you want to use, both sides, go ahead and put your pattern in right way facing up and down, and you're going to cut a strip of it. If you're using a whole 12 by 12 piece, you're going to cut 2 strips at one size and the rest of them at another size so that you can make a whole bunch of them. But the first one is going to be 1.5. Actually, this is not the pattern for the lid. The lid size is the 1.5 one. Sorry. So if you have a whole sheet of the 12 by 12, you cut at 1.5. So there's my 1.5 strip, and then other strips are going to be 1 3/8. I might have to cut a second one, but I don't think so. So you can pretend those are 12 inches long. They don't have to be. You're using tiny little pieces. This is why this works so well, because if we made the bottom of the box with DSP, you'd have a little bit of waste, and it'd be harder to find, bigger squares of it. So this is going to be very economical on your DSP, and it's just so cute. All right, so I'm going to do this one too. I'm going to do this one at 1 3/8 also. This is the 2 patterns that I'm going to use for the Scotty dog. So on the inside, you can see here that I've got this little brick pattern on the inside here. And I'm actually going to put it on the bottom here too. And then on the outside, I have this cute little sprig and berry pattern. And then that's this right here. And that's also on the lid. So the lid piece is actually a little bit bigger than the sides because the lid has to be bigger to fit on the sides. So that's why we had to make a couple different measurements here. All right, so while we have this, our thicker piece here, the 1.5 piece, you're going to cut a square 1.5 by 1.5. This is what this whole piece is for lids. And since it's a little bit wider than the other one, if you run out of pieces to make the sides, just trim this one down to 1 3/8. But we have our lid piece now. I'm going to set that aside, set my thicker piece aside, and now we're just going to cut these at, let's see, we need 4 sides here. So I'm going to cut this at 1 1/4. Now, if this was a pattern piece, the up would be this way. So 1 1/4 is the tall. It's 1 1/4 tall because this is not quite a square on the edge of the box. So we're going to have 1 1/4 by 1 3/8, and it's wider. I hope that makes sense. All right. So now we've got 4 little sides and our bigger top, and then we just need 2 of these. And again, these are going to be 1 1/4. Most of them are 1 1/4 by 1 3/8, and that top one is going to be 1.5 by 1.5. And I'll make all these measurements in the description. Sorry, this is confusing, I know. And we're going to do one more for the bottom of the box, 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. All right. So we've got all these little pieces. We've got a big one for the lid and a square one for the bottom of the inside. We've got 4 little pieces for the outside edges, and we've got 2 little ones for the inside pockets. Now let's go ahead and trim our box pieces. For the lid, we're just going to snip up to that first score line there, in on 2 sides, and then turn it around and on the other sides, and then we're going to make little notches. You've probably made boxes before, but if you haven't, this is pretty standard. I'm just going to notch this in a little bit like this on all 4 sides. I hope everybody's having a nice Saturday morning. I slept in. So all of a sudden I was like, oh, I should probably get ready for my video here. All right, so we've got this little thing, and then we'll go ahead and move on to our base here. You can see that this is kind of like a grid. I don't know if you can see that actually. There we go. So we've got 9 little boxes here. We're going to actually cut off the corners. So from the score line to the score line, I'm just going to make a straight cut. You can do this in your trimmer, or you can just take your scissors and cut it. Like this. And now we're going to go like this. We're going to cut up to the first score line here, a straight cut, and on the triangle piece, we're going to cut another little sliver off. Just the smallest little sliver that you can manage, and then just cut that out like that. And we're going to do that again. Same kind of layout as this, 2 on this side and 2 on this side. And just cut this one up, little tiny sliver, and then this side. And once you figure out the dimensions and the way that you put the box together, you could rearrange the measurements here to make the box bigger. Probably wouldn't want to go smaller. This is probably the smallest you could probably go, unless you're boxing up a raisin or something. All right, let's go. All right, so now we've got it like this. Now it looks like a Star Wars ship flying around. Julie says this is probably the tiniest box I've seen. I know, it's so tiny, isn't it? All right, so now we can start folding on all of these score lines. I saw this box on YouTube, but it was in German and it was in centimeters, and so I was like, I need to make this. So this is not my idea, but I did get inspiration. But I did have to figure out all of the dimensions again because I couldn't convert it. So kind of my measurements, but kind of not also. All right, so let's go ahead and get our liquid glue out. You can use tear and tape or fast fuse, not fast fuse, our Stampin' Seal Plus. I'm showing my age. So I'm just going to put it on these 2 little tabs here on the lid. Those go in. I'm going to hold those, since this is liquid glue, for just a minute. Not a minute, but a couple of seconds. Jean, thank you for sharing. Yeah, that would be very helpful. If you guys want to share my videos, that I would certainly appreciate that. I always forget to ask about that. I forget about doing that. Yes, please share. All right, so we've got this little lid. Oh, it's so cute. All right, we'll just hold that for a couple more seconds. Good. There's our cute little lid. And now we're going to do the bottom of the box. But before we put it together, we want to add our pieces that will go inside the flap. So you see where the the triangles fold, those both fold in on the same panel. On those panels is where you're going to put your DSP that fits there. So we're just going to glue those in. And the reason we snipped off a little bit here is because as this all folds up, there's so much bulk here on this side. As it folds up, we didn't want all that extra paper right there in the groove. So that's why we had to cut out a little bit extra there. All right, so let's just go ahead and glue these pieces in. And I ran out of candy to put on the inside, but you guys know what the Ferrero Rocher look like. All right, so we'll just go ahead and glue those in like that. So what you're going to do is run a little bit of glue on the bottom of this triangle right here to form the pocket. And while we're at it, we'll do this other side too, so we can hold them at the same time. Just a thin bead of glue there. Hold that. And I can do this at the same time. While I'm holding those, I'm going to put it on the other side. So I'm just going to go on the bottom over here and a little bit up this little edge, this little corner here. Just like that. All right, and now we'll go ahead and fold those in. And hold those just for a couple seconds. Now we can put this centerpiece in. This is the square one that's 1 3/8 by 1 3/8. It's coming together. I should have done my stamping first in case I made a mistake, but I should be fine, right? All right, let's see, which one are we doing? We're doing the little Scotty dog. So we're gonna have to get these stamps out. Merry Christmas and woof woof. They're so stinking cute. This one's still a bundle in the catalog. It comes with all these fun things. You could even make your own pattern on here with this plaid piece, but I'm going to get out these little stamps here. So I've got Merry Christmas and the woof. And I need to grab my punch too for the bow. I got this one because I think it's going to go make really fast Christmas cards and treat boxes. Punches and stamp sets that go together, especially if they're still in a bundle. Oh my goodness, snatch them up, because if you make a bunch of Christmas cards or if you need to make a bunch of treats, this is going to be so fast. So I already punched out a bunch of the dogs, but I didn't do the bows yet. So I'm going to grab my glimmer paper here. And I'm going to need 3 of these actually, because I want 1 for the dog and I want 2 for the pockets. You see I've got them on the pockets right here. And since the bow is at the top here, fabulous, I'm just going to sneak it just barely onto my thing, my paper here, trying not to waste anything by cutting things that I don't need to. You will get a little bit of sprinkles here and there, but not too bad. And if you run out of room, you can just trim off your excess pieces here. We're making a little bit of a mess. It's kind of confetti. It's so much fun. Whee! Bows, sparkle bows. All right, so I'm going to save my bows here and then just scoot everything else to the side there. So that is this Christmas Scotty bundle. It's so cute. Anyway, okay, so here's all of our trash. We need some blocks for these cute little stamps. And my Real Red ink pad. All right, so this is trash too. These little triangles, we don't need those. And we've got our cute little dog. I'm going to put 1 of these bows on a mini dimensional on the Scotty dog. Doesn't he look so fancy now? He's so cute. Woof, woof. And now we're going to stamp on this piece right here. I want Merry Christmas at the top and woof woof at the bottom. And if this is already, kind of folded and stuff, I will go ahead and kind of bend it backwards so it's flat so I can stamp on it without any of the flaps getting in the way as I stamp. All right, we'll go ahead and Merry Christmas. And then we're going to kind of angle our woof woof. It's so cute. And if you were mass producing, you would probably stamp all of yours at the same time. Get a whole bunch done at the same time. Now we're going to go ahead and put our little tiny bows on here with glue dots. Since this is a pocket, I'm going to put the glue dot as close as I can to the little V in the bow part. So as close to the bottom as I can without it poking through. I don't know if you can see that. I don't know if that's showing up at all. Anyway, it's way down here by the bottom, not the top. And so I will put that on here. And we still have access to the pocket. All right, so here's one more. I love our glue dots. All right, there's two. And now our little box is almost done. We just have to do the sides here. So again, we take our little pieces. This is the square. I can see that it's a different size than these. And these are rectangular. So I'm just going to turn this over and just do this real fast. Not going to the edges. I'm just going to draw a little bloop of glue. That's the technical word for it, bloop. Just kind of quickly put these together because as you're mass producing, that's what you want to do. I like using the liquid glue. It gives me a little bit of wiggle room. If it's not quite square as I'm hurrying, I can just kind of move it back to where it needs to go, and then it holds fast once it dries after a couple seconds. Okay, we've got all four of the sides. We've got the bottom, and we've got the lid. We just need to put the top square piece on there. If I had a candy, I would put a glue dot on the bottom of it and then just stick it in the middle here. We fold up all the sides. I like to hold 3 of them, and then the other side I'll hold with the lid as I close it. And then I'll add this with some dimensionals. Since he's black, I'm going to use black dimensionals. If I can find out where I put them. Oh, right in front of me, because I made sure to have them nearby. I am on the mini dimensional page. The black dimensionals come with mini and regular, but the edges of the mini are nice and thick. And so I'm just going to use one chunk of that in the middle here because that's perfect for the Scotty dog. His head kind of comes off, so I could put one there, but I don't think it needs it. Okay, so the nice thing is this lid can go any direction, but as I'm opening this, I do want this Merry Christmas and my woof woof to be, you know, up and down. So when I put the lid on, I'm going to put it on to where, you know, it makes sense. There, I like the colors showing that way. All right, so now I'm going to put the lid on with the dog facing the right way so that the words and the dog, or the top, are facing the right direction. Okay, so there is our mini explosion box. I hope you enjoyed that. We've got a bunch of little things, and I did sign up for a craft fair next weekend. So this is on my mind. I was going to do a craft fair series, whether I was going to sign up for one or not, but I just found one and it was pretty inexpensive, so I thought I'd try it. So wish me luck. If you do this in your craft fair, I would love to know how it goes for you, because I don't usually do a bunch of craft fairs. So if there's other things that you think that I should try, let me know in the comments. And thank you so much for watching. If you, again, haven't joined my email list, please join. I have more inspiration every Tuesday. I send out a free tutorial. And you can join in our group for mystery stamping on Wednesdays, Stamp with Delight, on Facebook. Thank you guys. Have a great day.